Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what day trading opportunities there are for today. You'll see my strategy, my analysis and any opportunities I can identify at this time. So stick around and let's get started. Cool, so let's start here on the daily chart. Not much happened yesterday. You can see we've just finished off as a indecisive doji, closed bullish above the open, but indecisive doji showing some deceleration, I guess, at these levels. We have our previous daily high, previous daily low, and other than that there's not much else we can see here that I haven't explained in my other videos. So let's move down to the intraday time frames and see what we can see. 4-hour time frame, as you can see, we are still in our bearish trend, our lower low, lower high, lower low formation. Obviously, since we mitigated these POIs down here, we have pulled back to the premium of this current leg and price is stalling at the top here. What else can we see so far today? If I zoom in, you can see price has left this fair value gap, which we are currently filling. Let me zoom out a little bit. So price is currently pulling back within this fair value gap, which is within the premium of this leg from the top to bottom there. So what can we expect from this fair value gap? Of course, it's a POI. It's technically a sell POI, right? So if price fills this fair value gap and fails to move beyond it, then we can see that price may be intending to go lower. Okay, so let's go down to the 1-hour time frame. Not much else to see here. So on the 1 hour, you can see that bullish pullback picture a lot better. Of course, we've made higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Price stalled at this premium here, right? We swept the previous high up here, and since then price created a structure, as you can see, swept its structural high. As I said in my previous video yesterday, we sweep this high, head towards this 1-hour fair value gap. I didn't get any entries. It was a bank holiday, so price just moved really slowly without me. So yeah, we swept this buy side liquidity, broke down. We've created a new, lower low on this internal structure on the 1 hour now. So we've created another leg, creating lower lows, lower highs, and possibly lower lows, which fits in my theory from my previous video that we're heading towards this fair value gap fill or beyond it, right? So on the 1 hour, you can see we've just about swept the previous daily low. That caused this pullback towards that 4-hour fair value gap. But if we look here, we also have a 1-hour fair value gap. That 1-hour fair value gap just below the 4-hour one is filled. You can see we are currently rejecting it still in price. And you can see this corrective price action would be a good sell side liquidity target. But either way, we may pull higher just to go into this 4-hour fair value gap. And just to give you a sneak preview of the DXY, we also have a price gap on DXY. So the reason why I believe we may go higher first to fill this 4-hour fair value gap is because DXY has a price gap below. DXY tends to fill these during the day. It may leave it and come back another time. However, the gap's right there, so just something to be cautious of. Price may not reject off this 1-hour fair value gap. But let's go back to the narrative we have now. We have a 1-hour fair value gap within a 4-hour fair value gap. So that's 2 higher time frame confluences stacked. Now, to go with trend, we are still in this bearish trend. We still have this 1-hour fair value gap POI, which is a draw on price for sell side liquidity. And price likes to fill imbalances, right? So these are the confluences we have. We had this, we swept the buy side liquidity, broke down, pulled back to a premium of this, and we've broke down again, and we're pulling back to some POIs, which may cause us to continue breaking down at least until this 1-hour fair value gap. For me, that's perfect. It's great to have these on side so early in the morning. I'll go down to the 15-minute. Clearly you can see my bias is heading towards shorts this morning. Just to show you a bit closer on the M15, we've pulled back. We've now in Frankfurt and London. In London we swept Frankfurt, We've already swept Asia. We've gone into a 1 hour fair value gap. There's a 4 hour fair value gap. And we have this trend line with sell side liquidity lows, which is like easy sell side liquidity to aim for. Right, so it's painting a good picture for me that we can fill this 4 hour fair value gap, break this structure, whatever structure it creates. If it breaks that structure, that's a great short, at least down to the bottom of Asia, or if you wanted to, down to the 1 hour fair value gap. Now, this is just me analyzing EU, but so far I'm favoring shorts unless price goes through these fair value gaps and doesn't break down, right? We're waiting for these POIs and for price to switch order flow once it arrives at these points. We don't need to trade off of them, okay? So let's go over to DXY and we'll see if that is also painting the same picture. DXY daily, we have our previous daily high, previous daily low. You can clearly see on the daily here, unlike on EU, we've wicked right through it. It wasn't so subtle. So this fair value gap no longer held price. We actually closed down below it yesterday, but regardless, we're still in that bullish trend. We still have our higher time frame POI that can attract price up here. So that's all for the daily. Let's go down to the intradays. As with EU, of course, we still have our opposite trend on DXY. We have our bullish trend. We'd pull back to this 4 hour and 1 hour POI, which is still holding. Price is finding some sort of support here. We're yet to break down through it. We're yet to give a great bullish push off of it either, right? So it'll be good to get some sort of momentum from this area. It's a lot clearer here that we've swept the previous daily high buy side liquidity. Price is now heading lower. You can see we're heading for this price gap. I would ignore this wick if I was you, because it's definitely not real. Why would price have wicked like that in the morning? It's something to do with the broker, I guess, and will probably disappear by tomorrow. So yeah, price looks to be, after taking this buy side liquidity, at least coming to fill this price gap on the 4 hour. So the 4 hour is still bullish. We're in a discount. We've swept some buy side liquidity internally and we're heading towards our price gap. Now on the 1 hour chart, of course, we have our bullish 1 hour leg. Internally, we broke down bearish. Now we found some support here, some stability at this 4 hour and 1 hour order block, and price did create a new internal high, high, low, high. We're heading back, filling this price gap now, live. And we still have this fair value gap remaining. Of course, it's been partially mitigated today, which of course the buy side liquidity from the previous daily high and from this fair value gap taking out this high is obviously giving us enough momentum to pull back. Now price may just continue, which is completely fine, but we have this price gap, which is just a DXY fair value gap, which is a POI, which may be a buy POI, which would line up with EU, of course, right? Because EU has this 4 hour fair value gap and 1 hour fair value gap, and it may continue the higher time frame trend from here, at least until we fill this 1 hour fair value gap, which is what I'm favoring in the short term at the moment. So just to go down to the M15 to show the picture, price is now reaching well within this price gap. What we'd want to see here now, if we want to continue with longs, obviously, is for price to settle down and then break structure, preferably on the M15. Let's say this M15 high here. If price rejects this and then closes out as a low test or whatever it will be, and then comes and breaks higher, then that will give us an indication that this price gap's filled and we can continue this trend. You can see the M15 order flow since Monday has been bullish, and we can continue that way. So let's go back to EU and just summarize. So as mentioned here live, while the candles are painting the picture, we're on the M15 on EU. Price has correctively moved higher up into our higher time frame POIs, while also on DXY we are moving into imbalance or fair value gap as well. If price rejects this area and breaks down, then I would love to short going with the trend, using these higher time frame POIs to my advantage, right, as higher time frame confluence, and I would aim short at least for the bottom of Asia, possibly to this 1 hour fair value gap, and we'd see how price reacts from there. But for today, this morning in London, I'm favoring shorts unless price shows me that, you know, its intention is to go bullish from here. I expect it to go bullish from here, but it could just do it from here after sweeping this previous daily low. So I'll draw out the scenarios I'm thinking, right? We go down here, break that, pull back to some sort of confluence POI there, and head down to at least Asia lows or this 1 hour fair value gap. If I don't get in that trade and this happens today and we see a reversal from this area, I'd want to see this area, you know, do something like this, create a higher high, pull back the same as above, and then head higher. Right, that would be the two outlooks I'm looking at, unless of course we break very strongly from here and then do the same thing. So I suppose I could paint that scenario out too. We could pull back here, we could do something like this, right, and go higher. I would favor this one because once this price gap gets filled, I think price will continue with the trend lower, at least until this fair value gap. Okay, but I'm ready for all three scenarios. So I hope you gained value from that. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it made sense. If you need me to explain anything further, please comment. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.